Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Siti Aisyah Rahmawati, and now I am a 12th grader. I would like to talk to you about how to stimulate students to read more books. Based on statistics data of Indonesia, around 87% of Indonesian citizens are literate. It means they are able to read. The government also have administered 9 years of compulsory education. Well, when we try to talk in a bigger picture, the question is, what those things do to the development of our country? Have we been attracted to dig out more knowledge that support the development of our country? Frankly, we realize that so many of us spending so little time to read. Reading can be a leisure activity, or it can be a part of school or work. I believe that reading habit will give a significant impact to our country, and that's why this issue is so important. Reading develops a person's creativity because in order to understand what you read, you need to exercise your thinking skill. Eventually, it will increase your ability to comprehend concepts and ideas. Reading will also introduce you to new things and will broaden your interests. As a bigger impact, developing your reading comprehension skill will prepare you in a real world, in a working field when you have to read manuals, guides, contracts, final documents, and papers. In addition to that, your broad knowledge will really help you anytime. In this era where the flow of information is unstoppable, we should be a highly informed generation. If we want to win the competition in a working field, we need to know more stuff than our competitors. I'd like to propose several plans for the government to stimulate students to read. The first is by adding more reading to the school curriculum. The second is by increasing the number of exchange students program. I hope by implementing these two proposals, Indonesian students will gain more interest in reading. Going to my first suggestion about adding more reading to the school curriculum. It all started when I rethink how many of us know who is Hadini or Sultan Ali Shahbana. They are a very famous Indonesian writer. They have great literature works, but unfortunately we're not so familiar with their name or their work. So I think school as an educational institution should help the student to get to know more about literature. I think it is compulsory for the students to read at least 2 or 3 books in a semester, especially in Bahasa Indonesia class. And then the student should also make an assessment about the book. For instance, they should make an essay about the character of the book. Therefore, reading will be more about understanding rather than merely looking to words and words. Besides that, school can also arrange writing competition, book review, or storytelling to make reading more fun. Reading as a schoolwork will stimulate students to have more reading ability. We might wonder why some people could read so fast and yet they understand the content of the book. The answer is because they read a lot. It is a habitual activity. Therefore, they will increase their reading ability over time. Well, what's really important in order to stimulate students to read is developing their interest in reading and make them realizing how important it is for their future. Students will enjoy reading if they are used to it. In the beginning, some students may feel reluctant to read, but if it's implemented since they are in primary school, I'm sure they will enjoy it by the time they grow up. Going to my second point, ladies and gentlemen. We can't deny that reading culture among Indonesian students is tragically deficient in comparison to other Western or developed countries. So, my second suggestion is increasing exchange students program. Many students will be very eager to know how the students in other countries learn. The government should implement this kind of program so that more Indonesian students can go abroad. In many countries, reading is already a culture. Once I was told that in Japan, people are reading while they are waiting for a train. This happens because they understand the need for reading to open up their mind and to get broader knowledge. They know that their interest in reading will give them more skill in life. I think by sending students abroad, they can see directly that reading is a good habit. Besides that, by living in other countries for a while, I'm sure Indonesian students will face some academic challenge. Those challenges will of course motivate them to increase their quality as a student. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the fact. According to Human Development Index, Indonesia is ranked 111 out of 182 countries. We're left behind by our neighboring countries such as Malaysia or Singapore. That's because there is a stagnancy in the development of human resources. Meanwhile, in other countries, their human resources development rate is really high. So again, by sending students abroad, it can be a motivation for them to implement a good habit. In this case, the habit we're talking about is reading. Well, ladies and gentlemen, besides two ideas above, I would say that the government should also make real action, such as establishing more functional libraries, community libraries, so that books will be more accessible to the students. It will be far more comfortable if we can go to the nearby library and read book there without having to buy it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a quote from Charles W. Eliot. Books are the quietest and most constant of friends. They are the most accessible and wisest of counselors, and the most patient of teachers. We all have understood the importance of reading and how it will help us in our life, now and in the future. I have presented 2 points to stimulate students to read. The first one is by adding more reading activity in school curriculum, so that the students will get used to reading books and eventually have a good reading skill. The second one is a direct stimulation by creating more exchange student program, so the Indonesian student will have more opportunity to see the culture of reading from other countries and implement it in their daily life. Indonesia needs a revival from its young generation. By starting a reading culture, we will have more self-competency to build our nation, and that's what our nation needs right now. I believe we can start somewhere. I think that's all that I can say. Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope it will be a beneficial speech for all of us.